We'll go him, then you.
So, sorry, this actually dovetails right onto that because I've had this discussion locally. Do you have any answer to the attempts to tie the problems that we have with childcare and paying for childcare and parents who, especially if they have 2 children, it's incredibly expensive. I hear about people who work at the university and they say, I'm working for the benefits because all my money is going into childcare. And then the other side says, see, and that's why we shouldn't raise the minimum wage. And to be honest, I explained that the minimum wage is not about them, but I wanted to know if you have a response to that attempt to tie those 2 together.
Well, it's a good question and response. I think that would be great. I mean, as a mother, it's nice to have childcare. I'm just blessed because I have family, but I know a lot of mothers have raised this as an issue. I haven't seen this being attached to anything, but if we did, it would be a good solution, I think, to talk about. So I cannot say that there's any set deal here, but I think I'll throw that out there and keep that in mind. So what do you think?
The only thing that I've seen that would be attached to is a piece of tax legislation called an earned income tax credit.
Yes.
That would help families with kids move to a way to help get reimbursed for some childcare. So that's the only one that I've seen. And to come back to, oh, she's not there right now, but come back to that question there was about tax exemptions. In order to get an earned income tax credit, we're going to have to go and start really digging into tax exemptions because we have so many of them. And tax exemptions cost this state an immense amount of money. The lowest hanging fruit is to do an earned income tax credit in conjunction with a streamlined sales tax bill that would begin to collect sales tax from things like Amazon and eBay and all these pieces, because as we have done a good thing for rural communities, we've pushed broadband into communities. We've done a great thing there. But in the process of that, we've increased those communities in buying from online distributors, which have killed their main streets, which has now left us where we are now. And so we need to be collecting online sales tax. We need to look at an earned income tax credit, and there's a host of other exemptions that really need to be seriously examined in order to find the money. Because when you do something like that, it's got to be revenue neutral, or we hurt something else. So we got 2 people that are a little excited. We'll go left, then we'll go right. Is that okay? I'd already given it to you, but okay, yeah.
I want to latch on to Jody's question back here about, a lot of energy here, a lot of sense we'd like to do something, but I share that notion that I want it to be focused, and I feel you on stick with the issue you're passionate about, but I've been doing that for 20 years, and here's how it works. I build up a head of steam on my issue. I spend a lot of time writing a really eloquent letter to whomever, and 2 weeks later I get a letter back saying, in effect, if not in so many words, sorry, this is a Republican state, and here's the Republican position, suck it up. And that demotivates me for another 2 years until I get another head of steam, and I never feel like my engagement means anything at all. Now, if I were part of a movement that were bombarding the same people on the same issue at the same time, then even if I got that letter back, I know 100 other people are getting that letter back, and they are hearing us. So I just wanted to say, just a bit of information that I don't think has come up yet. It's on the sign-in. If you haven't signed in, do sign in. There's a yes thing to circle that says, I would like to be part of the Rapid Response Network. Diane Baumgart, are you still here? She has a wonderful chain mail kind of thing going. And the idea is, if you're getting that mail, you contact, 5, 10, whatever other, close associates, friends, who would be interested in being part of this movement. And you send that mail, not the Democratic Party, you send that mail to them, and then you feel like you're really tied into something. So I'm just appealing to people to join that rapid action response network.
Yes, to be honest, while that's a good perspective, if I felt that way, I would not be standing here. So we got to stand up, but we have to keep going and realize that this is a marathon. I've seen some people like that, Representative Oprah Erling, I'm just not getting tongue-tied with your name here. While we've seen some people get a little frustrated and get burned out, he makes a good point that we have to be able to pass that autonomy and then step aside for a minute, take a breather, but let the other people who want to step up, take on these roles because we have to keep moving forward. So it's a long game strategy, keep moving forward, but again, if you feel burned out, step aside for a second and let someone else step up. And I'm sorry. And sure, Tom has a, sure.
Hi folks, my job is to stand quietly in the corner, but I'm the Idaho Democratic Party's political director, and I'm an organizer by trade. I think it's a fantastic question. How do we actually get some responses to the issues we're concerned with? I'd like to offer a couple of thoughts. First, yes, absolutely, add yourself to the volunteer list because there are organized efforts, and we're one of the central organizing bodies for getting progressives involved in the activity that needs to happen. So it's very helpful if we can pass on your name, for example, to the local organizations that are pushing things forward. What I would say is we really need you, and we don't need you, the month after the election. We need you the 6 months before. We also need you all year, every year. There are 4 elections in Idaho every year. We have March, we have May, we have August, we have November, and that's every year, odd years, even years. So we need our school board candidates. We need to pass bonds and levies. We need to win local municipal elections at city councils, mayorships, and all of those are things that we're more than happy to help with. So I would suggest working through your local county committee. Of course, everyone who signed in today, we're going to make sure you're on the email list and contact list for your local Democratic committee here in Latah County. Likewise for the state Democratic Party, and we would like to funnel you toward those places where you can be effective. Because it's, like you said, we're not going to win everything in the legislature every time. But if we start electing people to the city councils and the school boards and then the legislature, and from there, who knows, then we're going to make the progress we're looking for over time, over the course of that marathon. So if you haven't signed up, please do, and we will loop you into those efforts. And if you are involved in any of those efforts, if you're looking to run for office or you would like to help support someone else, contact us. We have a lot of resources and a lot of expertise at winning elections, and we'd love to help.
Thank you, Sean. Great.
I just wanted to say something really quick for the local Latah County Democrats. We are here. We need people to run for office. We have an election in 2 years. Our mayor and 2 city council members are up for election. Please run for office and just please vote. Democrats are really bad at getting out to vote in midterm elections. Please get out and vote. And if you want to run for office, please do.
Okay. Sorry, you've been waiting. Thank you so much for being patient.
I want to go back to the minimum wage. For the small town businessman, cannot hire somebody for $15 an hour. I am one. I'm retired now. The earned income tax credit should be the way to go. Let them pay $7 an hour, and then the state or the federal, however you can arrange it, rebate the difference up to $15 an hour to that person, so that the small businessman, wherever you are, which is the backbone of all of our economy in this country, can hire people anytime, all the time, and create jobs, decent paying jobs, because the difference is made up from the state or the federal. And how do you fund that? How do you get this through? How do you get this idea through? You're not getting your minimum wage raise idea through. I mean, they're fighting that everywhere, but maybe you can go the other way.
Yeah. You're right, that is another alternative. The earned income tax credit is an alternative. I will say that Idaho is experiencing significant upward wage pressure right now, and Moscow is the best example for that, because Washington, right across the river, is a minimum wage that's much, much higher. They're also growing at a rate that's almost 2% faster than Idaho. So it's a challenge, because if we continue to go with the federal minimum wage, we'll fall behind Montana, Nevada, Oregon, Washington in terms of wages. And you're right, there is upward pressure. There will be wage compression pressure on small business owners like yourself. I appreciate you speaking up, which is one of the reasons that we tried to do it in an incremental, slow way so businesses could budget it. But I hear your point, and both are pieces of legislation that I have drafted. If I could push back and push back on the majority leader's income tax cut bill, where he goes from 7.4 to 7.2 and throws a nickel at the poorest among us. If I could figure out a way to push back on that and go with an earned income tax, I think that's a better plan. Exactly. Thank you.
She's been waiting forever.
I'm sure. I'm sorry. You guys have so many questions, and we're doing our best. So I appreciate if don't get too mad if we don't call on you. Go for it.
Okay, I'm just curious about what your perspective is on health insurance and.
Louder?
if we'll ever-
Louder.
I'll repeat it too.
If we'll ever put an insurance gap.
I'll pitch this over to, basically the question was, what's our take on the current insurance, health insurance problems, and whether or not we will ever close the gap? And then, hold on.
See, brother status. We tease each other a lot too, and we're fun. So, this is going to be a frustrating response. I've been working at the national level too. While our new president has stepped into office, he just got right on it. Let's remove the ACA. So they're trying, and I know Congress is in the works. They're working on this night and day. So when you wake up in the morning, you really don't know what to expect. Locally, though, it's kind of a sit and wait game. Chairman Woods, who is our chair of the Health and Welfare Committee, he has mentioned at the beginning of the session that he wanted to use the money that was available to apply instead of to local youth programs and other functional programs that we were trying to apply to for behavioral health and such, to go towards the Medicaid gap. So where that is leading us, I really am unsure of, because we had our advocate here who was constantly pressing his bill, and Senator Schmidt was the greatest champion in that regard. So we miss him. The most daylight that this conversation has had is yesterday there was a 2-hour session between the 12 committees in the House and the Senate. Just a simple hearing, a conversation. It wasn't to drive any solutions forward or to really have an answer for you in terms of how we're going to address the gap population in the state. But what I will tell you, and it's sobering, that when you think about it, if they remove the ACA, over 100,000 Idahoans have been signed up thus far and have saved this state millions. Oh, now it's 200,000. Last I looked was 100,000, and now it's 200,000. The millions that is saving for the state. So if they remove that, where are they going to come up with the funding? So I'm waiting for a solution, just like you. We have yet to hear it, but we're continuing to promote still some form of legislation, and it's still Senator Schmidt's bill, but we'll see where it goes. I'll keep you in tune. Thank you for the question.
I haven't heard any discussion about Representative Troy's, the Blaine Amendment, which would change the Idaho Constitution. Can you comment on that, please?
To what I have heard from the chairman directly is that it is dead. We will not give it any daylight. So I am holding his word to stick to it. We'll see.
Does everybody know what the Blaine Amendment is? No. So the Blaine Amendment was inserted into many Western constitutions when they became states, but what it did is it prevented flow of public dollars into parochial schools.